Hi everybody, it's Amanda back from Amanda Rose Tarot, and we're here today to do another pick a card reading. This is going to be the 11th episode of Aesop's Fables. So if you're not sure what that is, go back to episode 1, and I wrote a bunch of stuff about it there and talked about it there. But basically Aesop's Aesop's Fables. So Aesops was a storyteller, and he had a lot of stories. He actually got released from being a slave for being so clever that his slave owner decided, just to let him go because he was so smart. So he moved on to telling his short stories all over the world. And we've got 3 stories today to tell you. And each story has a moral. So I'm going to show you the cards and you guys can pick which one you want. And then I'll tell you a little bit more about it. And then afterwards we can talk about it too. So don't be afraid to leave comments. If you get a different interpretation from it, that's possible too. So I'm going to show you the cards and give you a minute to pick, okay? Okay, so hopefully you guys can see all 3 of those. So we've got the stone here, the amethyst here, and the crystal ball here. So I'll start first with the stone, and let's see what story you guys got. Okay, you guys got the ass eating the thistle. So the ass was loaded with good provisions of several sorts, which in time of harvest he was carrying into the field for his master and the reapers to dine upon. By the way, he met with a fine large thistle, and being very hungry, began to mumble it. And while he was doing so, he entered into this reflection: how many greedy epicures would think themselves happy amidst such a variety of delicate foods that I carry. But to me this bitter prickly thistle is more savory and refreshing than any exquisite or sumptuous banquet. Let others choose what they may for food, but give me above everything a fine juicy thistle like this, and I will be content. So the moral of the story is everyone has his taste, every man's meat is another man's poison, and one man's poison is another man's meat. What is rejected by one person may be valued very highly by another. So basically, this ass had all these yummy, delicious foods on his back, but he preferred this bitter thistle. And it's just saying that everyone has different taste, everyone has different preferences. So don't condone people for, having their unique preferences. And why would the ass even, care what other people, thought? If we all had the same taste, then everything would be boring. And if we were all turned on by the same person, then, everyone would be attracted to the same person. And everyone has different tastes. Everyone has different preferences as far as music. Everybody comes in different shapes and sizes. So there's a perfect person out there for everyone, so just like opinions and assholes, everybody has one, okay? So that's what I get from this story. Let me know if that resonates with you, if you needed to hear that, or just what you think of that story. So I kind of like that. That's a good story. So that's if you picked the stone. Let's move on to the next, the amethyst. Let's see what you guys got. Okay, the tailless fox. Okay, so a fox had been caught in a trap, succeeding at last after much painful tugging, and he was able to get away. But he had to leave his beautiful bushy tail behind. For a long time he kept away from the other foxes, for he knew well enough that they would all make fun of him and crack jokes and laugh behind his back. But it was hard for him to live alone, and at last he thought of a clever plan that would perhaps help him out of his troubles. He called a meeting of all the foxes, saying that he had something of great importance to tell them. When they were all gathered together, the fox without a tail got up and made a long speech about those foxes who had come to harm because of their tails. This one fox had been caught by hounds, and his tail had become entangled in a hedge. Another fox had not run fast enough because of the weight of his tail. Besides, it was all known that men hunted foxes for their tails, which they then cut off as a prize of the hunt. With this proof, he stated the uselessness of having a tail, and he advised every fox to cut it off if he valued his life and his safety. After he finished talking, an old fox arose and smiled. "Master Fox, kindly turn around for a moment, and we shall have our answer." When the poor fox without a tail turned around, there arose a storm of jeer and hooting, and he saw how useless it was any longer to try to persuade the foxes to part with their tails. So the moral of this story is, don't listen to the advice of those who seek to lower you to their own level. So if people are trying to bring you down, it's only because you're above them. He was trying to mess with the other heads of the foxes because he was really jealous that they still had their tails. So if someone is trying to bring you down, it's only because they know that you're above them. So I do feel a little bit bad for this fox, but he shouldn't have tried to trick the other foxes into getting rid of their beautiful tails just because he had lost his in a tragic accident. It's better to be honest with people than try to bring them down to your level. But they were clever enough to figure that out, that, he was just trying to trick them because they still had their tails and they were more beautiful than he was. So that's what I get from that story. Let me know what you think. Maybe you got a different interpretation of that, but that's how I see it. So good story. I like that. So let's move on to the crystal ball, if you pick that fable. Let's see what you guys got. The goat in the well. Hopefully you guys can see that. A fox fell into a well and was unable to get out again. By and by, a thirsty goat came by, and seeing the fox in the well, asked him if the water was good. "Good," said the fox. "It's the best water I've ever tasted in my life. Come down and try it for yourself." The goat thought nothing but the prospect of quenching his thirst, and jumped right into the well. When he had enough to drink, he looked about for the fox, for some way of getting out, but couldn't find a way out. The fox said, "I have an idea. You stand on your hind legs and plant your forelegs firmly against the side of the well, and then I'll climb on your back, and from there, by stepping on your horns, I can get out, and when I'm out, I'll help you too." The goat did as he requested, and the fox climbed on his back and out of the well, and then he coolly walked away. The goat called loudly after him and reminded him of his promise to help him out, but the fox merely turned and said, "If you had as much sense in your head as you have hair in your beard, you wouldn't have got into the well without making certain that you could get out again." So basically, this is telling you, don't be so open-minded that your brain falls out. And this goat really was trusting too easily. Really don't waste your words on people who deserve silence. He shouldn't have even talked to that fox. He should have known better. And people's actions don't always match their words. They might tell you one thing, but they may have a hidden agenda and they're really doing something to benefit themselves. So see things for what they are and not what you want them to be. And never trust a tongue when a heart is bitter. Um, and and love people for who they are and not what you want them to be. So he really didn't, think that this fox might be trying to trick him. He just, opened his heart to him and, believed that he was his friend. So sometimes we do that. Sometimes we try not to see the bad in people. Maybe, we've been with a partner and we just keep saying, oh, they did that because of this. And, you're trying to constantly make excuses for them when, you really shouldn't even waste your time with them. So hopefully you got something from these stories, and I really enjoy doing these. I'm not the best storyteller. I do, flub up once in a while, but none of us are perfect. So hope you like that, and leave me a comment, and I'll be back again soon to do another reading for you. Bye-bye.